Welcome, and thank you for viewing this conceptual development planning video for Lewis and Clark State Park. Missouri State Parks is hosting a CDP open house at Lewis and Clark State Park on October 1st from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. For those of you unable to attend the event, I will highlight the presented information in this video. Lewis and Clark State Park is located about 30 minutes south of St. Joseph, Missouri. It was acquired in 1934, known at the time as Sugar Lake. The park contains 189 acres of open prairie, shaded campsites, hiking trails, a playground, and other guest amenities. The Lewis and Clark Lake, an oxbow lake, was the primary recreational resource of the park and adjacent Lewis and Clark Village. Today, the lake has naturally filled with sediment and evolved into an oxbow wetland. Please note that Missouri State Parks does not own or manage the Lewis and Clark Lake. Alright, let's look at some Lewis and Clark State Park highlights. Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, along with their expedition crew of more than 40 people, set out May 14, 1804, on their epic 28-month journey from the confluence of the Missouri and Mississippi rivers to discover what lie west. In their journals, Lewis and Clark told of a wilderness containing thick forests, prairie openings, and abundant wildlife such as deer, beaver, and bison. Today, this area is known as Missouri. In 1934, the state acquired land on the southeast side of Lewis and Clark Lake, known at the time as Sugar Lake, and dedicated it as a state park to these two explorers. Lewis and Clark State Park was developed in the 1930s by a federal workforce called the Civilian Conservation Corps. A stone picnic shelter still in use in the park is an example of their handiwork. Today, the area still attracts people eager to explore the outdoors. The park features 2.1 miles of trail and offers opportunities to see wildlife such as deer, rabbits, and songbirds, as well as wildflowers such as coneflowers and daisies. As part of the commemoration of Lewis and Clark's historic journey that began in 1803, a Lewis and Clark Bicentennial Plaza was incorporated into the landscape of the park in 2006. The plaza includes a screened walk that leads visitors to an interpretive area featuring a compass rosette, stone benches with the names of expedition members, a scenic overlook, and interpretive materials arranged along the walk. For visitors wanting to extend their visit, a campground shaded by large cottonwood and sycamore trees features both basic and electric campsites. If you would like to learn more about Lewis and Clark State Park, please visit mostateparks.com. We are currently updating the Conceptual Development Plan, or CDP, for Lewis and Clark State Park. CDPs guide the future use and development at each state park and state historic site. These are long-range plans with a 15-year outlook. The plans outline area use or zoning, site goals, development objectives, research needs, and project phasing, all while taking into consideration the significant natural, cultural, and recreational resources on site, as well as public input. There is a planning process that we follow in updating or creating a CDP. The process is comprised of 5 phases, including data gathering, drafting, public feedback, finalizing the plan, and implementation. Currently, we are seeking public input through our second online survey, as well as hosting a public meeting. But before we dive into the proposed development, let's take a look at the park's mission. The mission of Lewis and Clark State Park is to provide outdoor recreation compatible with available resources, to interpret the park's historical connection to the 1804 Corps of Discovery expedition, and to preserve, restore, and interpret the park's Missouri River floodplain ecosystem. Here you see a map of Lewis and Clark State Park highlighting proposed developments for the park. These proposed developments are what we're seeking public input on. Our first development objective proposes the construction of a disc golf course. A 9-hole disc golf course is to be designed and constructed in the open field west of the camping area, will run throughout the existing day use area, and will potentially be Lewis and Clark themed. Our second development objective proposes the construction of an outdoor interpretive area and amphitheater. A new outdoor interpretive area and amphitheater allowing for social, educational, and entertainment events will be constructed near the existing shower house and campground. Number 3 is to create native vegetative screening. A series of native vegetative screenings are to be installed surrounding the campgrounds to separate campers from their neighbors and block the view of surrounding public neighborhoods. Our fourth proposed development is to upgrade the playgrounds in the day-use area and campground. The existing playgrounds in the day-use area and campground are to be updated with new equipment. This equipment can potentially be Lewis and Clark themed with a sand-based substrate to accommodate for floodplain conditions. Number 5 is to better define the park entrance. The Lewis and Clark park entrance is to be better defined with improved landscaping and/or aesthetics, making it clearer to visitors when they are entering and leaving the park's boundary. Number 6 is to develop platform tent sites. Platform tent sites are to be developed in the area just southwest of the current camping area. These tent sites will be Lewis and Clark themed and potentially surrounded by new screening vegetation. Special consideration should be given to the development in respect to future flooding events. Proposed development objective number 7. Develop a new trailhead. A new trailhead is to be constructed immediately south of Lake Crest Boulevard, adjacent to the existing Gosling Lake Trail. Trailhead amenities include, but are not limited to, parking, picnic tables, and a thematic feature accentuating the trail, Lewis and Clark era themed. This new trailhead would provide day-use parking outside of the existing campground and encourage trail use, enhance the aesthetics of the park entrance, and benefit future walk-in campsites. Number 8. Develop fish hatchery interpretation area. The fish hatchery kettle near the park office is to be dredged, filled, and stocked for public fishing opportunities. In addition, the park's historical fish hatchery operations and infrastructure are to be interpreted. Number 9. Increase interpretation across the park. To improve visitor experiences, increased interpretation of the park's unique resources, history, and restoration efforts are to be developed throughout the park. And our last proposed development objective, number 10, develop a new hiking trail. A new hiking trail is to be constructed which will lead hikers through the wooded area of the park and will connect with the rest of the trail system. This trail will feature multiple hike-in primitive camping sites. Again, we are seeking input and want to know if you like or dislike the proposed developments for this state park. If you visit mostateparks.com/CDP, you will see survey number 2 for Lewis and Clark State Park. Please click that link to take the survey. We will also share the survey through social media, and it will be closing on November 1st. If you have any CDP-related questions, please feel free to contact Ryan Dunwoody, the Planning Section Chief for Missouri State Parks, at ryan.dunwoody@dnr.mo.gov or at his phone number 573-751-8462. Or you can contact me, Daniel Engler. I'm a planner with Missouri State Parks, and my phone number and email is listed there. If you have any questions related to Lewis and Clark State Park, please contact Carol Clark, the park superintendent, at her email address or phone number listed here. And for general Missouri State Park questions or comments, please send those to moparks@dnr.mo.gov. Lastly, thanks to the citizens of Missouri, our state parks and historic sites are supported by 0.5% of the Parks, Soils, and Water sales tax. This sales tax allows free access to Missouri's 93 state parks and historic sites. Remember, you are always welcome in Missouri State Parks.